I hope you're all doing well. So we'll be solving this we'll be solving this mathematics syllabus D 4024 paper 1. This is from May June 2023. It's the syllabus D paper, okay, and since it's paper 1, you won't be allowed to use a calculator. So I'll be telling you tips and tricks to work out questions without using a calculator for this one, okay? This is the May-June 2023 paper. 2 hours are allotted for this paper. Let's take a look at it. Okay, so the first question that we've got is 1234.4 divided by 8. Now, how I would like to do it is, obviously, it's very difficult for mentally dividing it by 8 by a long division, okay? So how I like to do it is that I'm going to multiply, I'm going to first write it down in a way that's easier for me to understand it. So 1, 2, 3, 4.4, okay? Just remember that I'm going to work it out step by step, way baby steps, so people who do not, who have difficulties understanding concepts of maths could also understand how maths could be made easy. Okay, then what am I going to do? I'm just going to multiply the numerator by a 10, and I'm doing this so that I could get rid of this decimal that's there. But whatever I'm doing to the numerator, I need to perform the same action to the denominator as well. So I'll multiply the denominator by 8 as well. Now, as a result, what is the answer that I'm getting? I'm going to get 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, okay, divided by 80. Now, let's find a common factor in the numerator and denominator. I know that both the numerator and the denominator are even numbers. So let's try dividing both of them by a 2. 80 divided by 2 is 40. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 divided by 2 is going to be 6,172. Okay, now they can further be divided as well. 40 divided by 2 is 20. Then 6,172 divided by 2 is going to be 3,086. Okay, we can further divide it. 20 divided by 2 is going to be 10. 3,086 divided by 2 is going to be 1,543. Okay, then if we were to divide both of them by 10, now at this point, we could simply just move the decimal one place towards the left by dividing them by 10. Okay, but I'll just work this out in the most easiest way possible. So 10 divided by 2 is 5, and 1,543, okay, that's not divisible by 10, okay? So now you're stuck. So now you've got 1,543 divided by 10. Now, how do you work this out? You should know that if anything is multiplied by 10, the decimal has to go one place towards the left, okay? And so the answer for this one is going to be 154.3. Okay, let's take a look at part B now. Part B says that we've got to find out 3/7 of 56. Now, this is very easy. What you're supposed to do when you have a question like this, 3/7 of means a multiplication sign. So just put in a multiplication sign, and 56, you're supposed to do 56 divided by 7. Whatever answer you're going to get, you're going to multiply that by 3. So let's break it down very simplified. 56 divided by 7. Just give me a second to choose the right color. All right. Okay. So 56 divided by 7 is 8. Okay. You should know this mentally, 1 and 8. And then simply do 8 multiplied by 3. That's 24. So the answer to this is going to be 24. Okay. Let's quickly move on. This is question number 2. Write down the fraction of the 3 by 3 square that is shaded. Okay, you have to write down the fraction of what part of this is basically shaded. Now, how do you work it out? You first find out what is the total amount that's shaded. That means what are the total number of squares that we've got? 1, 2, 3. This is a 3 by 3 grid. So that means there are 9 boxes in total. So that means the denominator is going to be 9. And how many boxes do we have shaded over here? So let me use red for for shaded boxes. So this is one complete box. Okay. We can count this one and this one over here as one box. So that's 2, and this one as 3. So that's 3/9. And then if we simplify it, we're going to get 1/3 because both of them are divisible by 3. So 3 divided by 3 is 1. 9 divided by 3 is 3. And that's going to give us 1 over 3. Okay, moving on. Evaluate 0.5 raised to the power 2. Now, how do we work this out? Obviously, what we can do is that instead of writing 0.5, I can write this down as 5 multiplied by 10. Oops, sorry. 5 divided by 10, because 0.5 is the same as 5 divided by 10 raised to the power 2. Okay, it's the same thing. 0.5 or 5 over 10 means the same thing. Now, what's 5 raised to the power 2? That's 25. And what's 10 raised to the power 2? That's 100. So that is 25 divided by 100. Now, what's 25 divided by 100? 25 divided by 100 is 0.25. The decimal is over here. You move the decimal 2 places towards the left. And why are you doing that? Acha, just by the way, can you see a decimal in this number? No, right? So if there is no decimal in a number, that means the decimal is at the end. Why are we moving this decimal 2 places towards the left? Because we are dividing it by 100. And 100 has 2 zeros, okay? When you're multiplying, you move the decimal towards the right. When you're dividing, you move the decimal towards the left. And so that's going to give us about 0.25 as the answer. All right, we'll try to at least cover up 10 questions in this particular lesson. Okay, now let's take a look at this. Question number 3, the diagram shows 4 straight lines meeting at a point. So we've got 4 straight lines, but we do know that this is a full circle as well. That means the total angle of this circle should be 360 because it is a full circle, right? This angle is given to us as 120. This angle is given as 40. Now, whenever there is an angle that is marked as a square, that means it's a 90-degree angle. So that's 90 degrees. And we need to work out the value for x. So what are we going to do? We are going to add up the 3 angles. 120 plus a 90 plus 40. Okay, let's add up these together. So that's 0, 9 plus 4 is 13, 13 plus 2 is 15. So carry the 1, write down the 5 over here, and 1 plus 1 is 2. So that's 250. Okay, and the total needs to be 360. We subtract 250 from a 360 to find out the value of the remaining angle. 360 minus 250. 0 take away 0 is 0, 6 take away 5 is 1, 3 take away 2 is 1 as well. So the value of angle x is 110 degrees. Okay, that is how you're supposed to work this out. Okay, let's move on. Okay, part B says ABC is a straight line and BCD is an equilateral triangle. Now, if I was a student and I was solving this paper, I would quickly underline equilateral. That is because in an equilateral triangle, all the sides are equal and all the angles are also equal. And since the total sum of angles in a triangle is 180, 180 divided by 3 is 60. That means all of these angles within the triangle are worth 60 degrees. So this is 60, 60, 60. Okay. Now I'll think what the question is. Now I'll see what the question is. The question over here says work out the value of angle y. No problem. Now we see that this is a straight line, right? ABC. They've already mentioned it's a straight line. Now this is a straight line. What is the total angle on a straight line? That's 180. If out of 180, if this part of the angle is 60 degrees, what angle do you think this is? All you have to do is 180 take away 60, which is going to be 120. So the angle over here is going to be 120 degrees. I hope that's easy. In case you have any difficulties, you can always drop down a comment and I can always explain it in even more further detail. And you can also book a one-to-one lesson catered to your needs from us. Okay. Benjamin's age is 3 years. Mariam is 5 years younger than Benjamin. Now, these are the kind of questions where students struggle a lot. You do not have to worry, okay? This question is forming an algebraic expression, okay? A lot of students struggle with these kind of questions. Do not worry. Benjamin's age is 3 years. Okay, whoever Benjamin is, he is 3 years old. Mariam is 5 years younger than Benjamin. So if Benjamin is, let's say, 10 years old, how old? Okay, now let's not take 10 to confuse. Okay, let's say Benjamin is 15 years old. So how old should Mariam be? Mariam is going to be 10 years old, right? Because it says over here she's 5 years younger than Benjamin. How did we work this out? Whatever Benjamin's age was, we subtracted a 5 from that to work out Mariam's age, which is 10, right? We have to do the same thing. Always think of it like this. So if Benjamin is t years old, how would you find out Mariam's age? Just do t minus 5, and that will give you Mariam's age. So what is Mariam's age in terms of t? It's going to be t minus 5. So Mariam's age is going to be t minus 5. Because no matter what Benjamin's age is, we're just subtracting 10, right? I gave you an example over here. Okay. Now, the next part of the question says that Colin's age is twice Benjamin's age. Okay, so let's, like, going back to our assumption, we are assuming that Benjamin is 15 years old, right? How would you work out Colin's age? Just multiply this by 2, right? And that would give you a 30. So if Benjamin is t years old, what do? Just multiply that by a 2 to get you Colin's age, and that's going to be 2t. So naturally, the expression for Colin's age in terms of t is going to be Colin is equal to 2t. As simple as that. All right. Okay, let's take a look at part B very quickly. Part B says, given that A is equal to 3, B is equal to minus 2, evaluate 5A minus 2B. This is a very easy question. The value of A is given, the value of B is given. You just need to substitute the values. But where do students get it wrong? The students mess up in the signs. You see, there's a negative over here as well and a negative over here as well. That is where students mess it up. Okay, let's write down the equation. 5A minus 2B. Okay, and then instead of A, just write down the value of A, which is 3, and instead of B, just write down the value of B, which is a negative 2. So 5, okay, that is from the original equation. And we're substituting the value of A as 3. So instead of A, I'll write down 3. All right, then just put down everything else the same way, negative 2. And instead of B, just put down B's value. Now I'm color coding this so that it makes more sense. The value of B is negative 2. Okay, now let's work this out. What is 5 into 3? 5 into 3 is 15. So that's a 15. What's 2 into 2? 4. And then minus and minus, that gives us a plus. So that's 15 plus 4, and that's 19. So once we evaluate this, the answer is going to be 19 for this one, okay? Where could students mess up? They could mess up in the signs. That is where students mess up the most. Let's quickly take a look at question number 5 now. Insert one set of brackets to make the calculation correct. Okay, so now this is obviously a question related to trial and error. You'll have to see where to insert the brackets. So let's try inserting the brackets around the 3 and 5, and let's see if that makes sense. Now remember that BODMAS is being tested over here, okay? And according to BODMAS, the bracket needs to be solved first. What is 3 plus 5? That's in 8, okay? Followed by multiplication. So 8 multiplied by 2 minus 7. You're going to solve 8 into 2 first. 16. 16 take away 7. That's 9. That means we place the brackets in the right order. Okay, do not forget BODMAS in case students do not know what BODMAS is. So BODMAS or BIDMAS is a rule where you're supposed to follow this order. So some students learn it as BODMAS, some students learn it as BIDMAS. And this basically tells you that if you've got a question with multiple operations in it, then the rule that you follow is brackets of division. That means you're going to solve brackets first, no matter what is there within the brackets, okay? Even if there's addition within the bracket, you have to solve the bracket first. So brackets of division, multiplication, addition, subtraction. Okay, that is how we follow it. And BIDMAS is basically brackets. So you solve the brackets first. Then if you've got indices, you're going to be solving indices, then followed by multiplication, division, then followed by, sorry, my bad, division, multiplication, addition, and finally subtraction. Okay, that is the rule. That is the order that you're supposed to follow. Okay, let's take a look at part B. Insert a plus, minus, and a multiplication to make the calculation correct. So again, this is going to be a trial and error. However, you're supposed to do it mentally, okay? What are you supposed to insert? An addition sign, a negative sign, and a multiplication sign. Okay, so very mentally, the number is 20, so I know that there has to be a big multiplication. Let's try multiplying over here. That's going to give me 15. 15 minus 2, and let's try this. What number would we get? 3 into 5 is 15. Then 15 take away 2 would be 13, and 13 plus 7 would give us 20. Oh, wow. We worked it out in the first go. So that is the order. Okay. Let's move on to this. Complete the pattern so that AB is the only line of symmetry. Now, these questions are very tricky because obviously, if you're referring to the marking scheme, you're going to see that the examiner mentions that the right thing is done, but the right shape or the right figure is not drawn. That is why students get really confused. Now, what exactly does this question mean? This question means that we need to draw, we need to complete this pattern so that AB is a symmetrical line. That means whatever is on one side of AB should be exactly on the same other side of AB. So I can see that the square is completed like this. Okay, that's half of the square, that's the other half. And whatever this weird looking shape is, okay, yeah, this is how you're going to complete it. Okay, this is how you complete the shape. Now the shape, both the halves look exactly the same. Okay, let's take a look at B. A hexagon. A hexagon is a shape with 6 sides, has a rotational symmetry of order 6. The perimeter of the hexagon is 30. Draw a sketch of the hexagon labeling the sides. Okay, that's an interesting question. Now, a hexagon has 6 sides, okay? So I'll just draw a figure with 6 sides. I'll make my life easy. Let me quickly draw that. So if I was working out this paper in the actual examination, I know that a hexagon is a 6-sided figure. So I'll first draw out a figure that has 6 sides. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Just ignore my drawing. Okay. I'm really sorry about that. But basically, let's work on it. Okay. I'll try to make it as regular as possible. Okay. And then it has a perimeter of 36 sides. That means 30 divided by 6 is 5. That means one side is 5 centimeters long. So 5 centimeters, 5 centimeters, and so on. I'll just label all the lengths. They're all going to be 5 centimeters. Now, it does not mention over here that this is a regular hexagon. A regular hexagon is the one that has all similar sides. But obviously, we'll just assume that this is a regular hexagon. Okay, let's take a look at this. Here are 5 temperatures in degrees centigrade. Write these temperatures in order from the coldest to the hottest. A lot of students do not know this. So, okay, you might even know this, okay? And you might think that why am I telling this? Why am I giving out this information to you? But there are students, I've personally taught students who do get confused with this concept. They do not know that when it comes to negative numbers, the bigger the number, the smaller the value, okay? So basically, if you're comparing a -2 and a -1, which number is smaller? This number is smaller. But if you're comparing 2 and 1, both of them are positive, which number is smaller? Then this number is smaller. So basically, when it comes to the negatives are going to be, the bigger the number in the negative value, the smaller it's going to be. And compared to a negative value and a positive value, for instance, if you've got a -20 and you've got a +3, then which one is smaller? This one is smaller. Despite the fact that it's 20, but since it has a negative sign, that means it's smaller. Okay. Now, considering that information, let's see which one is the smallest. -21 is the smallest. So -21 followed by -18. So -18, then -10, -2, and finally 17 because that's the only positive numbers. That's the only positive number, and all of the other numbers are negative numbers. So negative numbers are always smaller than the positive ones. Okay, work out the temperature that is 5 degrees colder than 18. 5 degrees colder than 18 means that we have to subtract 5 from an 18. So -18 minus 5, this is how we are going to solve it, okay? So minus is plus. 18 plus 5 is 23. And sign of the bigger number is, the value of the bigger number is 18 over here, so -80, 23 would be the answer. Okay, a lot of students get confused. They just like move, they do 18 minus 5 and they get a 13. That's obviously going to be wrong. You have to work out mathematical principles as well. Okay, let's take a look at question number 8. We'll try to work out in question number 10. A rope is cut into 3 pieces with lengths in the ratio 3:4. The length of the shortest piece of the rope is 180 centimeters. Okay, now they've already given us 3 ratios 3, 5, 4. And they've said that the shortest piece of rope is 180. That means 3 represents 180. Now, using this information, we can find out what one part represents. How do we do that? 180 divided by 3. What would we get? We would get 60. That means one part represents 60, okay? So let me just put that in over here. One part equals to 60. All right, okay? Now find the length of the longest piece of rope. The longest piece of rope is the one that has a ratio of 5. One part represents 60. So how many would 5 parts represent? Just do 60 multiplied by 5. 6 into 5 is 30. And just add an extra 0 because you ignored that initially. So that's going to be 300 centimeters. Okay, find the total length of your rope. So we know that the shortest part is 180, the longest part is 300. So let's also work out what the ratio 4 represents. So for that, you're going to do 4 into 60. 6 into 4 is 24, just add the 0, so that's 240. In order to work out the total length of the rope, you're going to add all of these. So 180 plus 200, which was the longest side, 300 plus 240. Just add all of these together. And once you add all of these together, let's just work this out as well, since we are working out all the miniature details as well. So plus 300 plus 240. Okay. And you can also see that we would manage our time also perfectly. 8 plus 4 is 12. Carry the 1, write down the 2. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's 720. 720 is going to be your answer for this one. Okay, if you want, you can always, while watching this video, you can always open up the marking scheme and cross-check the answers as well, okay? All right. Oh, I just saw that the question says give your answers in meters, whereas this was in centimeters. So 720 centimeters, okay? Now we need to convert that into meters. When we're going from centimeters to meters, let me put that down over here as well in case you want to take a mental note of that. So centimeters to meters. We are going to divide by 100. Divide by 100. Okay. So 720 divided by 100 is going to give us, okay, let's see. So this divided by 100. When we're dividing by 100, like I mentioned, the decimal moves 2 places towards the left. Where is the decimal? There is no decimal. That means the decimal is over here. You're going to move the decimal towards the left, 1 and 2. So the decimal comes over here. The answer is going to be 7.2 meters. Okay, let's move on to question number 9. Okay, the diagram shows triangles A and B. Describe fully the single transformation that maps triangle A into triangle B. Okay, now let's see what would be the transformation. So has there been any rotation? Yes. If you see, the alignment of A and B are different, right? They're not in the same position. So that means it has been rotated. By how many degrees has it been rotated? It has been rotated by 90 degrees. You can see a 90-degree rotation. And where would be the center? The center is going to be the origin. Okay, so we're going to say rotation by 90 degrees clockwise, and the center of rotation is going to be the origin. All right. Well, very quickly, I am running out of time, but I want to complete up to question number 10. Okay. Work out 1 whole 1 over 3 multiplied by 8 over 9. Okay, there's a fraction, and there is a mixed number. So you need to convert the mixed number into fractions. How do we do that? Let me just tell you for once and for all. If you've got a mixed number and you need to convert it into fraction, you multiply the whole number by the denominator, and then whatever answer you get, you add the numerator to it. So 3 into 1 is 3 plus 1, 4. That's going to be 4 divided by 3. The denominator is going to be the same in both the cases. Multiplied by 8 over 9. This is where I'm getting 8 over 9 from. Do not get confused. Okay, 8 over 9. Now, how would we work this out? we simply multiply them. So what's if we see if any sort of division is possible. So 4 and 3, can they be reduced? 8 and 9, can they be reduced? 8 and 3, 4 and 9, can they be reduced? They couldn't. So what's 8 times 4? 8 times 4 is 32. So that's 32. And what's 9 times 3? That's 27. So 32 over 27. Now we need to represent this in terms of a mixed number. So 32 divided by 27. Okay, why are we representing this in terms of a mixed number? Because this is an improper fraction. What is an improper fraction? An improper fraction is a fraction where the numerator is bigger than the denominator. That is referred to as an improper fraction. Okay, 32 divided by 27. How many times would 27 go into 32? That would be once. 27. What remainder would we be left off with? Let me use another color very quickly. Okay, 2 take away 7, that's not possible. So we're going to borrow from here, leaving here 2. 12 minus 7 is 5. 2 minus 2 is 0. So 5 would be the remainder. So 1 holds, that the number on the top comes in first, becomes the whole number. So 1 holds, then 5 over 27. Okay, the number at the bottom. How I like to remember it is up, down, center. So the number at the top, up, the number at the top comes in first. The number that we have down comes in second, 5, and then divided by 27. Okay, let's take a look at part B. Kate has a bunch of grapes. She eats 1/4 of the grapes in the morning, and she ate 2/3 of the grapes in the afternoon. What about the fraction of the grapes she has not eaten? Okay, so let's assume that she has a bunch of grapes. Let's assume that that is 1. Okay, now she's eaten 1/4 of it, and she ate 2/3 of the grapes in the afternoon. We need to add both of these to see what is the fraction of the grapes she's eaten. So fraction of grapes eaten. How would we work this out? In order to do that, we have to do 1 over 4 plus 2 over 3. Now, how do we add fractions? In order to add fractions, we need to make sure that the denominators are the same. So how do we do that? We carry out LCM of the denominators, or you can find a lowest common factor for them. In case of 4 and 3, the lowest common factor is going to be 12. Okay, then what do we do to the 4 to get to 12? We multiply this by 3. So we do the same thing to the numerator as well. 3 multiplied by 1 is 3. Now, what do we do to the 3 to get to 12? We multiply this by 4. And we do the same thing to the numerator as well. So 2 into 4 is 8. The operation between them is a plus. So we're going to put in a plus. What's 8 plus 3? That's 11. The answer is going to be 11 over 12. 11 over 12 is the fraction of grapes that are eaten. Okay. What are the fraction of grapes that are not eaten? Now, obviously, if you've got, let me just explain it to you in a very kiddish way, but I hope that helps. So let me draw a rectangle over here and let me divide it into 12 parts. Very quickly, I'll divide it into 12 parts. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's 12 parts, okay? Now, out of these 12 parts, if 11 parts are shaded, okay, that's 11 out of 12. So this part, all of the 11 parts, if they're shaded. So how many boxes are not shaded? That's obviously 1 over 12, right? So out of the total, if 11 over 12 is the fraction of grapes that are eaten, what would be the fraction of grapes that are not eaten? It's going to be 1 over 12. So the answer to this question is going to be 1 over 12. How did we get that? See, the denominator represents the total. So the total is 12. The numerator represents the amount that has been consumed, which is 11. So 11 parts have been consumed. That means 1 part is left. So 1 over 12 is the remaining answer. And that's going to be your answer for this one. Okay, since we're done with question number 10, we will be stopping our lecture over here. In case you have any requests, please mention it down in the comment section. You can always request a one-to-one lesson by reaching out to us on our email as well. All right. Take care. Have a good day. Bye.